Hello everybody, my name is Dave Chadwick and I'm from Bangor University, and I've been asked to provide a summary of being a host for CLIFF-GRAD students. So what motivated me and my colleagues to become CLIFF-GRAD hosts? Well, it started off with curiosity really. I've been a member of the GRA, the Global Research Alliance Manure Management Network, for some time, and when this opportunity arose, I thought, well, come on, we'll have a go for this. Clearly, it's a great opportunity to share knowledge with students. Many of us work overseas in collaborative research projects, and it's great to be able to share knowledge with those collaborators and to provide students with opportunities that they might not otherwise get. It's also an opportunity for us to progress our own research. We've got lots and lots of ideas and probably not always enough time to follow those through. So, having some motivated students around to help with that is really, really great. We have many PhD students working on similar topics, and when we have the opportunity to bring a CLIFF-GRAD student in, what's great about the CLIFF-GRAD students is they're on their way to being independent students before they arrive to us as independent researchers. They're in their second or third years, so having that knowledge already in terms of greenhouse gas emission measurements, for example, or modeling is really helpful before they get here. It means that when they arrive, they can do things in a very efficient kind of way. We have a lot of researchers and postdocs from around the world, and it's great to have these multiple cultures within the group, and they clearly, these CLIFF-GRAD students also enrich our group in that respect. And we've had some fantastic support from the CLIFF-GRAD office over the years, so that's another reason for us continuing with this program. So the list of students you see here, I hope I haven't missed anybody out, is the list of students we've either hosted so far. Rita, Titis, Gabriella and Eric. Eric's here at the moment. Have all been through the labs, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students, some of whom should have come this year, but COVID has obviously stopped that, so some of them will be coming next year instead. And the type of projects and the topics that they've covered include life cycle assessment of beef and dairy systems, for example, quantifying nitrous oxide emissions from different sources in the farming environment and looking at approaches and strategies to reduce those emissions, and also looking at how to improve carbon storage within soils. So a diverse set of projects. I'm going to talk specifically a bit more about our interaction with Gabriela Perez. She came and worked with us in 2018. She came from Brazil, and she came to work on some projects, or came to work on a project related to a lot of the research we've been doing on quantifying and looking at ways of reducing nitrous oxide emissions from urine patches. We're interested in understanding the factors that control those emissions of nitrous oxide. So here you can see a photograph of one of our research technicians collecting urine from sheep that have been grazing in an upland environment here. So we can collect that urine and then add it back to the soil in a urine patch that we've created, as it were, and we can make measurements of nitrous oxide that way. So we're interested in understanding how pasture quality and the soil type impact on nitrous oxide, but we're also still trying to unravel this complex kind of conundrum of what controls urine patch N2O. Is it the volume of water or of liquid, or is it the N content? Is it the unloading rate that's really important? And this is exactly what Gabriella came to work on. So Gabriella, here you can see, is probably mid-experiment here in that bottom left-hand photograph. We have our own protocols and our own approaches for making our measurements, but when new students come along, they come along with the protocols that they've learnt in their laboratories, which is always useful, to see how other research groups are working, and we can learn from each other and enrich the research team in that way. I mean, I'm laughing a little bit to myself because I know that when Gabriella came to us, she would never have dreamt that she'd be tracing the aerial extent of the wetted area of a urine patch, which is what she's doing there in the right hand corner. I'm not sure, I hope that's not the only lesson she took home. And it's clear that the students have the opportunity to contribute to other wider research activities in the team. And I know that Gabriella got involved with a large slurry spreading experiment where we were looking at the effects of slurry acidification on greenhouse gas emissions and ammonia emissions and soil quality. And again, it's probably a skill that she never thought she'd have to learn, how to spread slurry through a watering can. And then I guess the final thing to say is that, you know, through these research students, we also, the supervisors, get the opportunity to form a relationship for often the first time. So it's a great opportunity to extend collaborative research opportunities. So if you were to ask me, you know, what my suggestions to other scientists are, if they've not yet engaged with the CLIFF-GRAD scheme, well, first of all, why not? You know, there's no need to hesitate. It's a great opportunity. My suggestions are, if you've not done this yet, is to identify a research project that's aligned to what you're doing already. You know, don't sort of break out and ask this new student to do something that's completely new to them and you. And if you can align it with projects that your students and postdocs are already working on, then it's great, because the new CLIFF-GRAD student has a sense of belonging to a team if they come into a group that's already doing something quite similar. And there's lots of added value, of course, with students working together. I would suggest that 6 months is probably what is needed, you know, for an experimental type of studentship or student visit. It's possibly you can get away with less than 6 months if there's if it's more of an LCA or modelling type of research experience that the student's going to have. But I may be wrong there, so don't, you know, sorry modellers if I've got that wrong. And there'll be, you know, it's important that the students have this amount of time so that they can really socially interact with the rest of the team. And I will say that, you know, you will get really good support from the CLIFF-GRAD team in an official capacity. And the CLIFF-GRAD students seem to have a buddy system, whether that's official or not, I'm not sure, but they do seem to help each other out. Those who've already experienced their CLIFF-GRAD studentship tend to help out those who are just about to go into theirs. And if you've got any opportunity through your offices to help with visas and accommodation, that's great, because it just takes one less stress away from the students who are often moving to a very, very different culture and country. So it just remains for me to say thanks to all the CLIFF-GRAD students we've had the pleasure of hosting in the past. A big thanks also to the CLIFF-GRAD team for supporting those students and ourselves. And I'll say thank you there.